Welcome to Akhand Vidyashram, the first institute of impeccable wisdom, Akhandata ka pratik. DIVYANK D N A. I am using the prefix DIVYANK and I've been doing that for years because I want an established principle which is useful to the world with DIVYANK light so that particular identity becomes unique in itself. Now that is what I mean perfect B-double helix model of DNA to be a perfectly healthy, wealthy, wise, and happy who can lead a perfect life, curtail aging, reverse aging, and become highly useful to the world, everyone from A to Z completely. Akhandata ka pratik, impeccable wisdom to the core, can be done by a person who is a perfect human being with a perfect DNA of deviant nature. And I can assure you from my experience, ever since I got into spiritual science from my young days, I have seen improvement day by day in every way. And that is what I want to share and make my lectures, all the lectures, complete for everyone. And I want everybody to listen to A to Z, which I'm talking about, with full concentration. Then contemplate and then move on. Most of my people blame me that I talk too much, but I am very clear unless until you understand A to Z of every concept completely, you will never understand impeccable wisdom. Impeccable wisdom cannot be understood by an answer yes or no, because that can raise a lot of questions. And for me, all the questions which could be raised in the process have to be explained with evidence of mathematical conclusion and symbolic representation that there is no more scope for anything thereafter. And this foundation or this particular knowledge was laid to me when I was not even 10 years in my school in Katra. There two things were written on that. Vidya dadati vinyam, vinyat yati patatam, patatam cha dhanam, dharam sukham. If you want sukh, blissful state for everyone in the world, the way is only impeccable wisdom. Vidya is the only way. That's one. Second thing which I learned as a child, which I continue to do even today, is सरस्वती के भंडार में बड़ी अपूर्व बात जूं जूं खर्चे त्यों त्यों बड़े इन खर्चे घटिया. That means treasure of Saraswati, goddess of knowledge, is very peculiar. More and more we spend, more and more we explain, more and more we contemplate, more and more it grows. If we don't spend, we don't share, we don't do publications, it disappears. And modern science also makes it very clear. If you are a research scholar, you got to publish it. If you don't publish it, you perish. So modern scholars is publications, and for me also is a publication. It is a books, it is a different medium. I use all the 64 arts to learn A to Z in every way and then talk of Akhandata keeping all the 64 arts, not one or two. Most of people specialize in one, and I make it very clear. We should know all the 64 arts if we have to understand impeccable wisdom. And my videos are primarily meant can do wonders for the people who think of all the 64 arts. Now let's from that we move on to the next stage. As I told you, my dharma is impeccable wisdom, akhandata, nothing other than that. And my greatest discovery is Divyank, the divine design of nature, which is made of three components: 22 by 21, the first stage of creation; 10 stage of development; and 0.34, the third stage of maturation, and giving the length and breadth of 100 into 161,8034. Anyone who understands this concept would know divine nature as you see up, same form, and same thing is within the human body. And that is what Sanatana Dharma talks about. Pindand and Brahman are one. And I am a living example of that. I can experience A to Z within me. Now let's move on to the next stage. I also want everybody to understand that your conclusion should be mathematically conclusive answers A to Z, and that answer is Divyank. But you should also be in a position to convert that into graphic presentation, the way structures are designed by nature, as I see in the universe, as I see. Now since I'm talking about Divyank completely, this is also a representative Divyank. The outer is 22 by 21. You can teach 10. You can also see 5. A to Z, which I'm talking about, is there in this particular symbol. There's nothing which I'm talking about which does not find place here. As a matter, making of this symbol has taught me impeccable wisdom to the core, right up to Divyank, maybe taken 60 years, but worth contemplating and finding absolute impeccable wisdom by and large. Now, my prime objective is very clear. I'm a medical doctor and I want everybody to be healthy, wealthy, wise, and happy, blissful life for generations to come. Be an asset for the world, be a leader for the world, share all the knowledge with the world. I'm very sorry to say that articles written, the books written should be complete in every way. As a matter of fact, the very first public book of mine, which was published in 2002, the editor of the publication house, see, there are 10 books in this, and I said there's not 10. The entire universe is in this book. And the book was called Akhand, an Essence of Universal Consciousness, which was published in 2002. But I had to take back my copyrights for nature. There are certain mistakes which I didn't want the world to have. Because Akhand means flawless to the core. And that's it. Once you have the flawless, impeccable wisdom in mind, only then you become perfect from every angle. Now, prime objective of every human life or every objective should be the perfect physical health, number one, free from physical diseases. And absence of disease does not mean health, is something which I keep talking about. We should be free from all the disease. You should not have any difficulty. You should have perfect emotional stability. You should have material wealth and prosperity that without money you can't do anything. You got to work with the knowledge. The goddess Lakshmi will come to you. Saraswati should be there. And Ganesha should be there. And these are the concepts which I get it from Sanatana Dharma. Then you share the right education and knowledge. Then you have abundance of impeccable wisdom which nobody can find fault. Then you should have genuine respect for the world religion because every religion was to unite people. Let's not go into the one which is dividing people for whatever reason. That is not religion. And I'm talking about world religion which unites people. That is science on one side. And that world religion also should be that like Vasudev Kutumbam. A genuine commitment of social health can have a respect for all the beings of the world, and that is important. And spiritual evolution, enlightenment to be with universal consciousness is another point for everybody to comprehend. Enlightenment is not seeing light, enlightenment is wisdom to the core of impeccable nature. Only with the proper theoretical knowledge we can do experiments and achieve wonders. That is scientific precept. And for me, enlightenment is knowledge, knowledge, knowledge of perfection to the core. When we have all these concepts in clear, we'll be able to lead an eternal, blissful, comfortable living life. And that is what Ayurveda is talking about. And now this is what is my objective. This is the objective of everyone. And I'm sure with that, we should look at DNA structure perfect so that we can achieve all these objectives within that. But I do know most of people use only one form or other. But I want everybody to use 64 forms. Now for the knowledge, we should have knowledge of all the 64 arts, data, information, basic knowledge, known, unknown, completely full spectrum should be known. From there we should eliminate the philosophy which makes us the common factors. Then go to the scientific thing, evolution, which is mathematically conclusive. Then go to the relative world to see each perfection separately. But then all the perfection in tune with absolute wisdom can be understood. Otherwise, there would be a difficulty because each animal is living in a different world, but they are perfect by themselves. Once you know all the perfection by themselves, then you know in absolute wisdom. And that is enlightenment, that is Akhandata, that is what Akhand Vidya is all about. Once you are able to bring every aspect together and finally say, this fits everything in the central core like a pillar you can see here, that is a temple design which I am talking about. These are the temple designs of Indian temples by and large, which start from down and move up and go to the universal consciousness, one and large. That is the objective. Now, world is talking about research scholars like PhDs, DSCs, and even Nobel laureates, and I would put them, as far as India is concerned, as a rishi who have achieved. Then Maharishi is the one who's done wonder. Maybe Nobel laureates can be put into the category of Maharishi, and I have done that with respect to most of the Nobel laureates. Put them into that because their contribution is significant, including this particular DNA. But I have gone further from Rishi to Maharishi to Brahmarishi, which Sanatana Dharma talks about Vishisht as a Brahmarishi. He knew Brahman very well. That's one part. But I am of the opinion that we should be Akhand Rishi. You should go further. You should be able to go beyond Brahman's thought itself, beyond the solar system, before the creation, and what the entire universe is. And that is what we are capable. And that is what I'm talking about in this particular picture of Kathapadesh on one side, which talks of two souls, Antaratma and Paramatma, along with Jivatma. And also Gita also talks about it, where Rath, the chariot with 5 horses, 5 senses, is a Jivatma. And Antaratma, along with that, is what Arjun, he is capable of doing wonders. And Paramatma is like Brahman who talks of all the three, Jivatma, Paramatma, and Brahma. And that is what the new concept, new philosophy I have given to the world called Tret Para Vidya. Once you know Tret Para Vidya, you understand impeccable wisdom completely. And I want everybody to listen to this in every video. Have the clear what I am trying to drive with the kind of video which I'm going to talk about it in this particular concept. Now, one thing which I want everybody to understand, most evolved creature in the world is the human being, and primarily because we have most evolved human brains. This human brain has got the reptilian brain, that means spinal cord plus brainstem, midbrain, pons, and medulla oblongata. They take care of the unconscious, subconscious functions of the body automatically. As a result, reptilians don't even need doctors. Their system is capable of doing that. And I want everybody's reptilian system to be as perfect. As a result, they will never fall sick. The body will give them what to need, what to do, and how to do it. They'll become their own doctors. That's it. But then you have a mammalian brain right up to limbic system, which makes us emotional. Human being has to think of everybody as a family. And Sanatana Dharma talks of Vasudev Kutumbam. The entire world is our family, not my wife, children alone. I mean Vasudev Kutumbam. And that should be the stage of mammalian brain. Then and they have primate brain, the thinking brain, which West talks about it, that human beings are thinking ones. Yes, that is right up to the cortical stage, up to 4th level. It makes the life of almost all the people around the world. They think right up to 4th layer of neocortex. The outer 3 layers are neocortex. I'm very sorry to say, even modern neuroscientists do not know what is subjective. The 3 layers are not understood. But there is one person who has used the 3 layers to be in tune with universal consciousness. It's Shiv Bhushan Sharma. As a result, I'm able to produce something and use it as an antenna to be with Akash Kosh, which has got all the material of the past, present, and future recorded very well, and my wisdom comes from there. That's it. And I've shown this particular Akash Kosh. I correlate that with the Schumann resonance field or ionosphere layer of the Akash, which is the outer layer, and its inner circles is 8.73 hertz. And that is what I'm talking about, the frequency, which is alpha frequency. I can produce throughout the brain with eyes closed, eyes open, anywhere and everywhere. As a result, I'm in tune with earth, I'm in tune with my body, I'm also in tune with Akash Kosh, which has got the wisdom of generation from before creation to A to Z, is the best internet. And my brain is an antenna to that. My wisdom comes from there, not from the world thing, because it's full of confusion. I get that. Then in the light of the modern science, I filter and give it. But other two frequencies are the higher frequencies, which are in tune with universal consciousness. We'll talk about it later, but let's stick to 8.73, the average one, which is ideal for us. A proof of it that I've achieved that, I've shown these are four different kinds of waves: delta, theta, alpha, and beta. And also shown, I have given a proof that I can produce 8 hertz frequency throughout the brain with eyes open, eyes closed, with anything, with a complete open eyes, with a total awareness, everything happening. But my brain is complete and calm. 8 hertz with eyes open, 8.5 with eyes closed, and that is what I have achieved over a period through contemplative meditation of eliminating defects from the knowledge and coming to impeccable wisdom. And this is what I'm showing. If I can do it, every human being can do it. And for that, DNA, DIVYANK DNA is very important to understand and see that we can see ourselves through to the impeccable wisdom for ourselves and for the world. And that is kind of research we should have. And that is what I talked about in the last as earnest question, which is for equilibrium of the human nervous system. And the log used is 61. But modern science have also found that 61.54 is more logical for resting membrane potential. And I go to the extent that should be 61.8034%. To give a perfect resting membrane potential, you will have a slightly variation values. Doesn't matter. But perfection is more important. Once you have the perfection, you have the impeccable wisdom. Once you apply that, your experiment will be more consistent. There will be uniformity throughout the world, and you can also achieve perfect physical health, perfect emotional health, perfect mental health, perfect material health, and also impeccable wisdom to the core. The whole objective is to achieve what I told you with making double B-double helix a DNA model of our body to be according to DIVYANK. That's it. Now, something which I want at every stage everybody to understand: how did the biological life start? And it's very clear. First unicellular organism was grown in ocean, not in water, because the ocean had all the solutions required for everything on the earth. It had fallen from upstairs down solution. What then each cell had external as well internal. External had all the ingredients in the fluid form like glucose, proteins, fried whatever is required. And also sodium and chloride was outside the cells. And inside the cell was a potassium. And inside you have the nucleus to manufacture all the products, and which should have a B-double helix or deviant DNA by and large to produce all the things from single cell to multicellular organism. And once you understand the extracellular fluid, interstitial fluid, intracellular fluid, and the content of water on the earth should be 61.8%. Outside the body should also be 61. Inside the cell should also be like that. Once you are able to maintain the value of DIVYANK within the human body, all the 100 trillion cells have that. You could be perfectly healthy, and we got to take care of whole body as such, completely A to Z. Once we can do that, we can be perfectly healthy. And these are the things which we need to know from A to Z. And correction can be done by DIVYANK DNA only. Now, coming to the human body is the most perfect chemical factory in the world. We can manufacture poison within it. We can also manufacture nectar within the body, provided all the ingredients are as required in the quantity which is essential. Food is pure vegetarian. We do not take anything which is damaging, which is problematic for any cell. We can be perfectly healthy, wealthy, wise, and happy, and we can produce amrit within the body. But if we are taking things which are not required, which are poisonous in one form or the other, we could have the problem. and that is the root cause for disease. And this is also from Ayurvedic concept, which I want everybody to understand. If you want to be a perfect human being, you should be pure vegetarian, fructivorous, frugal in nature, and no alcohol, no drugs, nothing at all, because they're all problems if you want Amrit. And then IH concentration of sodium, chloride, and others should be in full concentration as it required, nothing more, nothing less. Anything is moderate quantity, required quantity is a bliss. Anything in excess quantity is going to become a poison and create a problem for that matter. And one simple example which I have always been giving to everybody is when you are very hungry, take one gulab jamun, one sweet. It will taste very sweet and you will feel what a amrit it is, what a nectar it is. It is so blissful. But when you go on eating more and more sweet or gulab jamuns, stage comes when the same gulab jamun with the same concentration start becoming bitter. That means you have taken more than required. So principle Ayurveda is eat limited food to the extent is required and stop it before you feel complete. That is a precept which I want everybody to understand from Ayurveda. If you want to be healthy, wealthy, wise, eat what is required and stop before you are completely satisfied. And leave little space for hunger. And eat all the things which are required in smaller quantities, not too large quantities. And that is the concept which I am also talking about because I want everybody to be healthy, wealthy, wise, and happy. And here I have shown sodium and chloride also are very important. Sodium has got 11 electrons, one is outside as an atom. When one electron goes out, it becomes ion. Similarly, potassium has got one less. When sodium gives one, it becomes 18. And as a result, sodium chloride with the 28 electrons is a perfect balance like any other inert matter. And that is a blissful stage which I want to talk about. I want everybody to listen to me carefully. Don't stand on judgment. I want people to forget whatever the knowledge they have got from school, college to the university. At any stage to every stage is defective. Forget that. Take that everything defective. And what I'm talking about impeccable wisdom. Listen to it very carefully. And then think about it after lecture is complete and try to find fault. I would be very happy people can find fault with my work and tell me that this is where defect is all about. And we can rectify. We will rectify if there is need. But I can assure you, to the best of my understanding, I've done my part. But if you can take it to the next stage for me, wonderful. I'll be very thankful and we can move on with the better things. Now, this process of analyzing things systematically from A to Z is important. And I am just going to share one experience in one of my class in Department Physiology in Chetnad University when I was giving lecture about red blood cells formation, erythropoiesis. At one stage, the one student raised a question, Sir, are the mature red blood cells living cells? Yes or no? But I can assure you the first answer of every student when I asked, they said yes. And I asked them, why do you say it is a living cell? It can give you all the functions which required for the physical body. Because body needs oxygen, and that comes, without that you are fit for nothing. And RBCs are designed with that. From that, but then I told them, when you think of a living cell, it is not the cell's function which is important. Living cell bring one element which is absolute essential is procreation. If they can procreate, they are living cells. Otherwise, they are mature cells. That is the difference between living cells and other cells. From that angle, it is not a living cell because it cannot create. Then raise the question, second question came, is it because there is no nucleus? Was an interesting question. Yes, nucleus is not there, agree, because nucleus is not there because no cell can contain more than 38.196% of solid material. Nucleus is solid. And so is hemoglobin. Hemoglobin has 35% solids. It can occupy 35% place. So there is not enough space for water otherwise. So all the other products like nucleus, mitochondria, and others were exhibited because there is no space. Then they said, okay, just because nucleus is not there, it's not able to reproduce. But no, that is also not a right answer, because nucleus is there to produce essential things for the body. It's got double DNA. It knows the design what is required for the cell. And since any cell which is going to multiply or not multiply, if it has to survive for a longer period, it should have a nucleus. And for that example, I said you look at neuron cells, they have a nucleus. The nucleus is essential because from the time neurons are formed, 100 billion neurons are formed, and 20,000 memory centers are created, it has to survive. So nucleus is important. Nucleus DNA is important. It's able to give the kind of proteins it's manufactured. It has a perfect armor, everything. So it is for functional aspects to be perfect from every angle. It is not there for procreation. And that is the kind of dialogue I have with my student in my class. No wonder all my students who listen to me very carefully, understand the concept, get centum% marks, because nobody can find fault with their answer. That is the kind of knowledge which Akhand Vidyashram is talking about. That's what I want entire world to understand. We do not need a defective knowledge. We need an impeccable wisdom. Then next question which came up, then what is that which is important for procreation or multiplication in a living cell? I think it's a centrosome which is very close to the nucleus of every living cell, which has got two centrioles. At the time of procreation, at the first stage of creation, 21 cells, parts of the cell, become 22 by splitting this. They move to the opposite sides. And then there is a division, and mother cell becomes the daughter cells into two by multiplying mitosis itself. That mitosis is this, and then goes on to further make it. It is centrosome, which gets converted into two centrioles, important. And that is not there in a nervous system. That is not there in RBC. As a result, they cannot procreate. That is the real difference which is there. Then I went on to tell them the one, which wanted one living example. Each cell, under a compound microscope, you can see three cells: cell membrane, cytoplasm, and nucleus. There are three, trinity. Then when you go under electron microscope, you find all the three have got 777 parts. There are 21 parts. And that is what you see in a germ cell in red blood cells to start with. It is 21 micron size. And it becomes 22 microns at the first stage, and then you go to the 10 stages and you come to the mature RBC. The volume of germ cell is 900 cubic microns, where mature is 90, just 1/10. And size is 1/3 of the mature cells. A regular size to bicuspid size is the entire picture is beautiful knowledge, a reflection. This is Divyank. Once you have Divyank, you'll expect 10 stages everywhere. Once you know 10 stages, you can well define. You are perfect. And I want everyone to have this information in the brain. Not necessary. By whatever I'm talking about is out of my memory, out of my conceptions, not just what is written here. It is just for some you to just keep an eye on it. But what I'm talking about is different from what is written here. And that kind of extempo speech you should have. And when I say tell like that, give a one question and I give this answer, the people say you are talking too much. I mean, yes and no answer do not give you anything. Raise too many questions. Unless A to Z is clearly discussed and eliminated defects one by one, you do not come to impeccable wisdom. And Akhand Vidyashram and Shiv Bhushan Sharma talks of only Divyank, Akhandata, and nothing other than that. I'm not here to confuse people. I'm here to enlighten people. And that is what I learned in school. That's what I learned in college. That's what I learned today. That's what I'll do for the rest of my life, irrespective whether I like it. Maybe that is the reason I'm doing my bit the way I want. I'm learning how to make to 45 minutes HD things because I need that much minimum to give a lecture of 45 minutes. That's it. Now let's come to the question of human B-double helix. Now we have come to the core question of what DNA we know as and today. Next almost 10 to 15 minutes I'm going to talk about what is available and how different it is from to DIVYANK DNA. Watson and Crick got a Nobel Prize in 1953 for the model which you can see in this particular picture. The designing, creating, improving the structure of behavior has given to him is a beautiful model, no doubt about it. Hats off to them, the original thinkers. And all original thinkers are like Maharishis because they've worked for 30, 20, 30, 40 years to prove that with all the proving. Hats off to them. They are Maharishis. Let's give them the credit for their contribution of the class where Nobel laureates also accepted. Agree. But now let's understand this model. In this particular D helix model, you can see on either side well-known pictures, and I've a sense I put right in the middle. These models by Watson and Crick, the width is 21 angstrom, height is 34 angstrom, each strand is 3.4 angstrom, number of strands is 10, minor groove is 12 angstrom, major is 22, and two enclosing chains of deoxyribose sugars and phosphoric acid on either side. An opposing side of 3 and 5 you can see on the pictures. They also represent the DIVYANK. Then you have nitrogen chain of adenine and thymine on one group, guanine and cytosine another group. They are bound by each other with 2 hydrogen bonds and 3 hydrogen bonds. This is the information which is there in the Nobel laureate objective the picture and chemical structure which Watson and Crick have given. Hats off to them. They have given beautiful thought to the world, and we can tell you we depend on B-double helix, our DNA structure for everything what we are. If and as far as the nucleus is concerned, you need 22 autosomes and X and Y. And their structure of this, they has to be perfect in this form. Once we understand that, we understand the genes, we can lead a perfectly healthy, wealthy, wise, and happy life. That's objective. And this structure I'll talk about a little later. It's the same thing which I have given, but little more detail I'll give you in comparison studies. And this also structure is there for you to see how the structures are. We'll talk about it in detail later. But there is one concept which I want to show the world. One thing I appreciate about Isaac Newton, he made it very clear to the world that whatever knowledge he has given of 3 laws of nucleus, gravity and other things is based on the information which he got from the seniors outside. He sat on their shoulders and given the world and got a Nobel Prize and got the world gravity, got the world nucleus, which is relevant even today. If somebody asks me personally whom you call the greatest scientist, I would say definitely it is Isaac Newton. With all the nuclear world, all the mechanical world, all the gravity and other things, uniform field field, what he spoke was crystal clear. But there is always further improvement once you start learning it more. It's a particular stage, wonderful, no doubt about it. But unfortunately, in double helix, credit is given only to Watson and Crick. But actually, it's a joint exploration of 4 people: James Watson, Francis, Rosalind Franklin, and Morrison. They were directly or indirectly connected with this, and credit should have given to all the 4. And this is a picture from internet, which everybody knows. I'm not putting from my pocket. I just want to bring the controversy. We should have the humility to accept that whatever knowledge we have, who have evolved. But I do agree, contribution should be significant to get names included. That's it. But then there is a picture called Secret of Life where three pictures are given, but name of Maurice Wilson is missing there. It's again something which I want the world, that we should have honesty to do and put it together, perfection to the core, and that is impeccable wisdom. And I would not take credit for anything other than my original concept of Divyank, Akhandata. These symbols are designed by me. This is mathematical design by me. It is my process of understanding 22 by 21, power of 10.344, with the help of Professor Govindarajlu in working on SPS version 21 of IBM. We worked it out. I give a credit to him. He helped me to sit with it and find that number. That's it. We should have the humility to accept this is what it is. At the same time, I make it clear. Entire wisdom comes from Vedas, Upanishads, which made me think differently from modern science. Then brought both together to take it to impeccable wisdom, which I'm talking about it. So the entire process is a long, elaborate process of understanding A to Z completely, then finding which is perfect, which is not perfect. That neti concept, not this, not this, not this, what is required, has helped me to come to Divyank. And that's what I want every student of mine, every person in the world to understand that. We are thinking human beings. We should given the knowledge which is perfect. If the students are not thinking because they have not been given that knowledge which is perfect. And I'm trying to make it comfort for everyone that look up to Akhand Vidyashrama's videos or my answers in Quora or in my books, whether it's Akhand or Akhand Sutra, you'll get the impeccable wisdom only. Now let's move on to the next stage. This is a particular structure which I'm talking about, which is redesigned based on B-double helix, which Watson and Crick have given, and improvised in the light of Divyank is a and shown something which definitely is more significant, more elaborate and perfect, and I'm using that to bring even reverse of aging in me. Because unless that you have proper theoretical knowledge, you cannot do wonders. This picture I'll explain as we proceed. Now, difference between Watson's picture is this. Watson talks about 20 width of 20 angstrom, and I'm talking about 21 angstrom because Divyank is talking about 21. Then each strand, a spiral it takes is 22 angstrom is designed very clearly. So first part of Divyank 22 by 21 is there in width and strand itself. And number of strands is 10.34 is something which is the third stage. The height could be 33.9854, not 34 we is talking about. Minor group 12, no issues. Major group 22, no issues. Sugar back chain opposing 3 and 5, no issues. Adenine and thymine, no issues. Guanine and cytosine, no issues. 2 hydrogen, no issues. From that, everything is perfectly fine. There is no doubt about that. But 20, 34, 3.4 to 10 to this is much more precise, and that is what I've shown in the picture which I have just shown you earlier. But there is something which I want the next generation also to go ahead and think rationally thereafter. When we are talking of chemical industry and we say chemistry is within the human body, we are the greatest pharmaceutical company in the world. We can manufacture amrit, we can make poison. As long as the food is pure in every form, vegetarian, fructivorous, frugal, and all the ingredients, the required quantity as required for the body, everything is given perfectly, you should have a perfect body. If it is too much, you could have a problem in one way or other, which I would not like to talk about it right now. But maybe if I get time, I will do it in subsequent part in this particular video. But there is something which I want to show in this particular picture. 3 and 5 is same. But then inside you have nucleus nitrogen material. You have two groups, thymine and adenine on one side, And interesting enough, the number of protons in these two equal to 136. 70 plus 66 is 136, is the first group of nitrogen material, a nucleic acid. The second side of guanine and cytosine also got 136 only, but the ratio is 78 plus 58, 130. Because both have that, that's why there is equanimity. And first one has got 2 hydrogen and second one has 3 hydrogen. It speaks volumes. And that is the kind of impeccable wisdom which we need. We can do it because we have artificial intelligence. We have hardware very high quality. We have software of high quality. What mind could not think, we can do the systems which we available to our scientists, technicians of the world. They're a wonderful job. They've given us the equipment, we can do wonders. We can come back to a truthful world once again because we have the material, we have the equipments. All we need to think rationally and have the wisdom to think of impeccable wisdom. Once we move on with the impeccable wisdom, I can assure you we'll have perfect knowledge from school, college to the university through the world as the uniform perfection. There are two ways. The core should be perfect and periphery is dynamic. But let's go, my objective is only to stick to the core, which is the perfect in Divyank and Akhanda. From that angle, this contribution speaks volumes. And you can see in this particular symbols of this, there are two symbols which scientists, designers have created on top. And same thing is created by me on the third down, which I called the outer part is 22 by 21. Then you see 10 pentagons at the power of 10. And if you see five inside are 5 digits, which I'm talking about. It's a graphic presentation. Same thing, you can see the other two symbols again. Once we are able to see these symbols, I can assure you, you'll have a perfect knowledge whatsoever. And if your double helix is also designed with this number and this, you can be perfectly fine. At this particular juncture, I'd like to give you one explanation why eating vegetarian food or eating within the system, what is required based, why I talk about fructivorous, why I talk about frugal, what I do before you to completely feel fully satisfied with the food, stop the food. If you want to live healthy, wealthy, wise for generations to come, you got to remember. And one example which I'll give it to you people to how to differentiate between amrit and a poison. Whenever we are in a state of hypoglycemia, we haven't eaten for 10, 12, 14 hours, you are literally in a hypoglycemic state. And I don't want the person to go to sympathetic overactivity to mobilize from the body. It's not set in. He's still hungry. And sympathetic system has not come to the play role. At that particular stage, if he has some sweet, particularly when I call a gulab jamun, sweet, pure sweet, tasty, very tasty. Have one. You feel amrit, nectar. You feel, wow, what a wonderful homeostatic life. Enjoy it. You eat second, you still enjoy it. Eat third, you still enjoy it. But subsequently after that, same gulab jamun with the same main start becoming bitter. That's the time you feel your body will tell you this much sodium is required, this much chloride is required, this much sugar is required, this is required. Body itself will tell you. Once you start listening to the body in that particular precept, you will know how much to eat, what not to eat, and all the design of food should also be according to Divyank, and everything should center on Divyank, Akhandata, and that will give you perfectly healthy, wealthy, wise, and happy. I think this should be enough for the day. I think I've covered elaborate more. If people can listen to this and do, they'll be perfectly healthy, wealthy, wise, and happy for generation. We can prevent all the problems. We can curtail aging. We can also reverse aging in the process, and that is objective. And thank you very much. Thank you.